broken, cripple, disabled, unreliable, useless, liability, burden, hypochondriac, fake, faker, faking, prima donna, attention seeker, drama queen, over exaggerates, put on, asset, distraction, diverse, problematic, unpredictable, flaky, resilient, warrior, loser, disappointment, untrustworthy, disgusting, ugly, leper. What do all these words have in common? These are words that I have either heard describing people with disabilities. Some good, some are positive. Some depends on the context. Some depends on the person's personal, I guess, thoughts of themselves. Nonetheless, some of these are true, but that doesn't change how it makes people feel, and it doesn't change the disability. So, how does this pertain to me? Well, honestly, I've accepted the fact that my life will never be the same, but doesn't change things, though, in some perspectives. And that's why I'm broken. I admit it, I'm broken. My body, my mind, my spirit, everything broken. My life broken. So, what does this all mean? Well, we're going to dig into that. I'm going to give you a good perspective of, or at least the best I can, what my daily life looks like, how things have changed, and where things are to go. So, sit back, folks. It's going to get deep. It's going to get personal. It's going to get real. So get comfortable, because here we go. Now, before we get to started here, I just want to make one thing really crystal clear. I'm not telling you what I'm going to tell you because I want pity. None of us. Well, I can't say none of us, but I can say 99.9% of people with chronic illness and disabilities, we don't want your pity. Don't care for it. It's unnecessary, and it does nothing. I gotta say that it's insulting to get pity. Not to say we don't want help. We most of us actually, welcome help when we need it, whether we ask for it or not. But we want help, not pity. So keep that in mind. You're going to hear some things coming up that you're probably going to be pretty shocked about, especially if you've known me for a while. Some of you that don't know me, maybe like, oh, this is bullshit. There's no way somebody deals with this every day and functions. Well, yeah, we have to. It's not just me. It's all of us with chronic illness. Because this is what society has pushed us to. This is what we have to deal with on a daily basis. Not because it's what we want. It's because it's what we have to do. So I'm hoping that, if nothing else, you come out with an understanding that, disabilities come in different forms. That we are ostracized. We're pushed to to the edges of society. And that shit needs to stop. I'm not going to lie. It needs to fucking stop. And you'll understand soon enough why I get kind of angry talking about that. But just make it simple. Let's just start off with what my day looks like. So this is a typical day. I wake up in the morning. Typically, I'm either sweating or covered in sweat, or the sheets, clothes I have on, whatever is soaked in sweat. Pull myself out of bed because everything on me hurts. Every inch of my body is either stiff, painful, spasming, irritated. You name it, I'll probably run the gambit here. Step two, from the bedroom to my office, which is honestly a very short walk. But every step is painful. It's stiff. The joints ache. I don't want to move them. When they move, it's like everything's in a vice grip. My skin is irritated. Sometimes to the point that I don't even want anything. Not even a breeze touching it. That's a little uncommon, but it's still sensitive nonetheless, as far as the severity. Your brain doesn't want to, I guess, for lack of a better term, work. It's foggy. It's almost a level of confusion. Sometimes there's vertigo there and a little dizziness. But I go to my office and I sit. And I just wait. I'll get up occasionally, fix some coffee, maybe go to the restroom, but I wait. Usually a good hour before things really start to kind of settle for the day. Now, I'm not just sitting here like a lump of shit in the yard, but what I'm doing is I'm moving. And some of that movement isn't because I want it, it's because it happens. There's hands, arms, just muscles just twitch. Sometimes they lock up and cramp. And, usually mornings are not severe, but, they still cramp. And there's nothing I can do about it. I just have to kind of wait it out. Coffee, once it's going and done and, and I'm getting a little bit of that nourishment in and, hitting my nicotine vape here. Things start to ease. Don't go away, though. It never goes away. Anyhow, I'll start looking at my day. What does my day hold? What do I have to do for today? And majority of the time I'm looking at task lists because I can't remember shit. My short-term memory is just fucking trash. Excuse me. My memory literally is trash now. I mean, short-term, it's horrible. I mean, I've had to learn over the last several years that if I want to remember something, I either have to make an association with something else and repeat it in my head until it sticks, or at least I hope it sticks, or it has to go on a task list, and that's usually what happens. It goes on a task list. Sometimes I'm lucky and associations I can make quick associations at last, but that's usually not the case. So if I meet you, you better hope I can make an association with you in my head somewhere, because it's going to take me a while to learn your name. Otherwise, something about our interaction has to key something in my head, and it's usually something associating with something that's relatively common for me or in my past, whatever. It doesn't matter. I ain't no details there. But if I don't, it's going to be it may be some awkward exchanges there for a while, but, whatever. But back to the day-to-day. I assess how my body's feeling. What's stiff, what's hurting out of the norm. Now, when I say norm, it's not really normal. It's just the normal I have to live with. My normal is constant body cramps, spasms. My muscles vibrate, for lack of a better term. It's the only way I can describe it and really get the point across. My body vibrates. Sometimes that vibration, as I call it, is visible. Sometimes it's not. It's visible. It's usually considered tremors. But it feels like it's vibrating nonetheless. And with that vibration comes painful, stinging, burning shock waves of, I guess, nerve pain. I never know where it's going to happen, when it's going to happen. It just happens. Joints are stiff or painful, or I have to look at what's moving better versus what's not. Is there something I can do to mitigate that? I talked about the brain fog. I don't know. I mean, the list just goes on and on. The eczema, is eczema flaring? Am I having trouble with energy, which is a very sought-out commodity, and I'll go into that a little more later. How am I feeling mentally? It's just one of them days where there's just no being happy, I guess. I don't know if I'd say happy. Happy's not a good word. Being content. Because honestly, there is no happy here. I'm content. There's some things that excite me. There's some things that bring me joy. I'm never happy because, pain it doesn't make you happy. But, I had to look too, are my joints swollen? Are they swollen in any particular area? Or, is it like an all over? Or is it, how are they moving with that swelling? How's my heat intolerance? Am I flared up? Am I having a flare in general? Is it exacerbating other things and not exacerbating, some things? I mean, I describe my day as a whack-a-mole. That whack-a-mole starts from the time I wake up until the time I go to bed. And even then, I'm sure it's happening in my sleep because I don't sleep well. But, we'll talk about that a little more in detail. Anyhow, after the assessing, start looking at what I can and can't do on my list. What I got to do, what I don't, what I can put off. And there's times when I put off every damn thing. Unless it's something urgent, I tend to put stuff off sometimes. I don't have a choice. And my day just keeps going with that whack-a-mole. This change, that change. I have to constantly, every freaking minute of my day, I'm constantly having to assess what's my body doing, what's it not doing, what's flaring, what's not flaring up. Am I doing something different? Am I doing something wrong? Do I need to change how I'm doing something else? Okay, I missed something, so now this is acting up. What do I have to adjust there? Can I take a break? Can I take a nap? Can I take a rest? Do I need this? Do I need that? And it just goes on and on. On and on and on. It's exhausting. It's mentally and physically exhausting. But anyhow, I get my day going as best I can, do the necessities, bathing, brushing teeth, eating as I can, as I fill up to it, as needed. And as it gets longer in the day, it all gets worse. Brain fog gets worse. The pain, the neuropathic issues, the tremors, the cramps, sometimes the depression. It just gets worse. I had to learn a long time ago that my days, I can't set a day in stone. I can't say I'm going to do this, and this, and it's going to happen. Because a lot of times it doesn't. I just plan best I can. Stuff that gets pushed, I try to catch it up as quick as I can. Sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes it just has to go on the back burner until the next go round. But at nighttime, I start dealing with more cramps and spasm, intensity, frequency, severity. So I have to keep an eye on that as well. Because if I can't get that under control, I know the rest of my night's going to be worse. It's not going to get better. And then, what sleep I can get is probably going to be lackluster at best. But I do what I can, do what I have to do to manage it. And, and just wait till time to go to bed. Now, I don't have a set bedtime. I don't set myself a bedtime because I let my body decide it. Because I've tried this whole schedule thing. It just doesn't work. When you have chronic disease, it doesn't work. Your body dictates your sleep. Now, sleep is, I'll use that word loosely. I guess it's more of an extended rest. Because my body is constantly in movement. Problem is if I sit or if I do stand, sit, whatever, for too long, the joints start to get stiff. They start to get more painful, which can trigger or cramps and some other things, that happen. So as a result, I'm constantly moving my sleep. I toss and turn all the time. It's not something I want to do. I'd love to be able to sleep, nice restful sleep, but it doesn't happen. It hasn't came in years, and I don't see it happening anytime soon, if at all. Sometimes I just break out in frickin' sweat. Sometimes the cramps get to the point that I just can't sleep. Sometimes the restless leg is so severe that I can't stand it. You literally just want to frickin' just gouge the damn muscle out just to make the frickin' shit stop. But anyway, excuse me, that's my typical day. So, yeah. So how does that strike you? probably thinking, oh, this is bullshit. There's no way somebody does that. Somebody lives with that. Hell, if I had that, I'd probably be just laying in a damn bed somewhere and not wanting to move, put away in a rest home and just kind of cast off the side and forgotten about. Well, yeah. You don't get that option with chronic disease. You don't get that option with chronic illness because society doesn't give you that option unless you want to be 100% just forgotten. And some of you listening to this are probably going to be like, that's just bullshit. He's just blowing smoke of everybody's butt. I know people that's got chronic illness and chronic pain and blah, 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 blah. They're lying to you. That's because we've been forced to lie. And that's why I said we don't want your pity. Because society, even if we want it, society's not going to give us pity. Because pity isn't genuine. Pity is fake. It's a response to make you go away. Oh, I feel bad for you. Oh, you think I care. Oh, I do care. Oh, all right, at least I'm making you think I care. But I really don't want to know shit about it. That's kind of the thought process goes through most people's heads. No, not everybody's like that. I mean, some people are genuinely, they are genuinely concerned about you, but it's easy to tell someone who has had chronic illness and chronic disease, pain, I don't care what you want to call it. We know. We know it's basically bullshit. And I'm going to tell you why. Because society doesn't want to hear about it. They don't want to hear about, your chronic illness. They don't want to take in. People just don't care. It's not that they don't care about you. It's not that they don't care about, how bad you're feeling, how horrible your day is. They just can't process it. And you're probably having trouble processing yourself right now. If you have never dealt with chronic illness and disease, and, how do you wrap your head around that? You start making these comparisons in your head. Oh, well, I can do that. I can do that. Blah, 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 blah. I know when I was like this, it did this to me. Blah, 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 blah. And then somehow or another in your mind, you rationalize, well, shit, I did that. So it didn't affect me that bad. So, you got to be giving me a bunch of bullshit. This is a bunch of lies, blah, blah, blah. And you can see how the story goes. So that's what, we don't want your pity. Don't give us your pity. Because we know you don't want to hear it. We know that it's shocking to most people. There's always that bunch that just, thinks everything you say about it's a lie, and you're just trying to fucking damn scam everybody and everything you can to, and that's the other side of it. We know that too. There's plenty of people that just look at us and go, oh, this is it's bullshit. No, it can't be that bad. And there's no way in hell it can be that bad. You couldn't fucking function. But we do, and we have to, because we don't have a choice. Give you a prime example. It took me a little while to learn, but you learn. Everybody has dealt with and deals with chronic illness and disease. They learn. When someone asks you, how are you doing today? I take that as a genuine question, of concern, thoughtfulness towards you, But I take it with a grain of salt. Yes, they care. Yes, they want to know. Maybe I'm being cordial, but after responding, you start to see that face change. When you sit there and you say, "Oh, well, how you doing?" and someone like me says, "Oh, well, I'm having a hell of a flare up and body feels like it's on fire. I'm sitting here sweating and it's freaking 60 degrees outside and I'm standing still and tremors are bad and just start telling them, their face changes. It goes from concern to absolute fucking horror. Call it what you will. The use of that word, over exaggeration, it's not. It's horror. Because even if they've known you for a while, they don't want to know the details because it scares the holy living hell out of them to think that you were dealing with that. They don't know how to respond. What are they supposed to tell you? They're supposed to say, "Oh, well, is there any way I can help?" They already know that answer. Ain't a damn thing they can do to help. Because it's not gonna make it any different. It's a conditioned response. And we see that. You see it. You start to see it fairly quickly, and you learn. You can give them the full story, or you can just tell them something short, simple, and they'll smile and show a little more concern and go about their way. And you still see a look in their eyes, though, that they're like, "Fuck, I don't even want to know. I can't process that in my head." So you start telling them things like, "I'm doing all right. Oh, better than yesterday. Oh, it's not too bad of a day. What's another good one I use? Could be worse. Don't use this one, but I probably should. George Carlin favorite. I'm not unwell." He would probably just walk away from me if I said that. There's so many I've used. But usually you keep it short, you keep it sweet. You don't want to... You don't want them... You just hide it from them. And that's where some of the hiding starts. And they feel better about themselves. You walk off and you didn't terrorize someone. Too bad. But you still feel like shit because you're like, fuck, why'd they even ask? You don't want to know. But you take what kindness you can get when you get it. And then there's another bunch of people that they do want to know. Or when you do start, giving them any inkling, it's always because they can't process it. They try to take and associate it. Here's the deal, folks. And by the way, in case you haven't heard it, you're probably going to hear some vaping draws and whatnot. But anywho, here's the deal. So, just because you have something chronic or you had been in some pain or had something that lasted a while does not mean you know what in the fuck I am dealing with. I know some people will compare their pain to your pain. Just trying to sympathize. But it's insulting. It's fucking insulting, because unless you go through every single damn thing I go through and have gone through, you know nothing of how I feel and what it does. And when you take and try to compare your pain, or in some cases, which probably more than not, one up someone's pain, it pisses us off. It honestly does. We know that in most cases, you're just trying to wrap your head around it. You're trying to make yourself understand. Some people live a competition. Let's just be honest about it. But nonetheless, what you're doing is you're minimizing every damn thing that I'm feeling. You're pushing me further into that fucking hole, back into that damn room, back in that corner, that little dark corner where, you know, everything's set to collect dust and be forgotten. That's where you're pushing me, because it's not genuine. It's just a response. I mean, I don't think in most cases conscious. It's just a response. Your mind is just trying to find a way to process exactly what it can't. And be honest with you, don't fucking do it. Just don't. There's nothing that you can say unless you have went through exactly, and I mean exactly, the same things I have felt and do and whatnot. You cannot be familiar with what I'm dealing with. You may have an idea, but don't minimize what I feel by telling me how you feel or how something on you feels or doesn't feel or blah, 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 blah. I don't want to hear it. None of us want to hear it. What we want to hear is acknowledgement, true concern, and we want to hear that, genuine help is there. Don't just, it's kind of conditioned response. We tell everybody, when things are going bad or aren't going that good, blah, 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 blah. We try to tell, we make the offer, if you need anything, let me know. And I'll say it. I mean, I even do it too sometimes. Sometimes you're just hoping that they don't call and they don't need you. But, for the most part, people are genuine. Well, what am I supposed to, if I need help, what am I going to ask them? Hey, can you come over and mow my yard because I feel like shit and it needs to be done, and I've been putting it off because I haven't felt well, and then I need to do it, blah, 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 blah. And you know what? You're going to probably get you're going to get so many fucking excuses. I'm sure there's some that would, some people in this world that would do it. But, I mean, how long would that goodwill last? If I start rattling off shit I need help with, because, I felt like pure, just pile of goo, whatever. How long will that freaking charity last? And that's what it is. It's charity. I mean, you're asking for help. Someone's giving it to you free of charge with nothing expected in return. It's charity. Charity's not bad though. I mean, but it doesn't last. It's not supposed to last. It's not. I mean, let's be honest about it. I mean, chronic disease, you wear that kind of welcome out quick. The pain though, everything that I deal with, is unique to me. So it's kind of forced society to just want us to go away. Out of sight, out of mind. Only deal with this when we have to. It's because society doesn't understand. Most people, I think, see the world as, black and white. It's either this or it's that. There's no in between. Some of that is, personal preference. Some of it's product to your environment. Some of it's product to, what's going on around us, what we're reading, what we're seeing, just society in general. I mean, but, I'm going to take a break here for a second. I need to pause for a minute. All right. So this is one thing too that I deal with on a daily basis is the fucking memory issues. I stopped because I forgot what I was talking about. It's one thing I deal with more and more. I have trouble, remembering shit. Short-term memory is just horrible. I mean, literally, I forgot what I was in the middle of where I'd skewed off to, and it happens more than I wish it did. Nothing I can do about it. I mean, you try to work around it, but honestly, there's more times than not now I just look at people and go, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. And you either ask them to, get you back on track, what you were talking about, or you just freaking abandon the conversation and sit in silence. I don't really know what the things it does to you inside is just, it makes you feel like you don't belong anywhere. I mean, it's just one of those things. You don't belong. It just makes you feel like you don't belong, and it makes you feel like that maybe this, where society's pushed you and where, society as a whole seems to want you, is where you need to go. But, yeah. So let's see if we can get back on track here now, folks. Like I said, we don't want you to minimize what we go through. Because you don't know. I don't know. Someone could come with me the exact same freaking symptoms, conditions, whatever that I have. Everything identical. They could be an identical genetic freaking clone with everything the same happening. And I still cannot tell you what they're experiencing, because their pain, how their mind perceives it, how their body perceives it, how their body processes it, how you've learned to cope, and the list goes on and on. It's going to be different from every single person. Sure, there's freaking nuances, everybody does, but it's not something that is fluent, and it doesn't follow a pattern. It doesn't follow a set schedule. It doesn't follow any kind of instructions. So I couldn't, before I get off on a rant again and forget where the hell I was talking about again, let's just end it with, don't take and tell me you know how I feel. Don't sit there and tell me you know what it's like. Don't sit there and insult me by telling me you understand, because you don't. What you should be telling me and people with chronic illness and disease is, I have no idea what you're going through. I look and I can tell that things aren't the greatest right now and you're feeling bad. You know, let's just use bad. It's probably the easiest word. But how can I, you know, and don't even ask this part unless you are genuinely, you mean it genuinely, and you are that true friend, or friend, what part of those true friends, or someone being absolutely 100% true. You know, how can I help? Is there anything I can do to make things a little easier for you right now? That's what we want to hear. And if we tell you no, chances are we probably can't use the help, but, you know, we don't accept that kind of tone immediately. And it's usually reserved after a while, and, you know, we get to know the person, learn who the person really is, and how they really feel, and deal with this kind of stuff. So, you know, that we deal with, you know, the chronic illness and disease sufferers deal with. So, you know, don't take it as if they say fine or this and that, blah, blah, and they give you generic answers, because it's a filling out process. Don't think that's going to be always the answer either. I mean, I could tell you one day, no, I'm good, you know, whether it be genuine or not. And the next time I look at you and go, I can't do this again. I need your help. I need some help. Because majority of the time, we're not going to ask for help. Because when we ask for help, you either get the whole pity party going, which, fuck a pity party. I don't need a pity party unless there's a lot of weed and drinking and good times, which is not a pity party. I don't want it. None of us want it. Or you get someone that can genuinely wants to, you know, jump in there and help. And then you also have the last set of people that just look at you and go, really, bitch, you fucking did that just 2 days ago and you can't do it now? Are you serious? You know, that's the kind of stuff we get. So we don't ask for help a lot unless we truly, absolutely need it, and we're out of options, because we don't know what the response is going to be. And that's just the 3 top ones. I mean, it could be a hell of a lot worse. I mean, you could have somebody tell you to go fuck off. I mean, they don't give it, and they could literally say, fuck off, I don't give a damn what you're feeling or not feeling, just do it. I mean, you know, suck it up, princess. And that brings me to my next point. Under no circumstances are you allowed, whether you know people or not, whether you care or not. Sorry, I need a sip of coffee there. But anyways, you don't get the fucking right to insult me or anybody with chronic illness and disease and disabilities. You don't get that right. We have been insulted. We have been minimized. We have been drugged down long enough. Now, I'll be the first to tell you that before I'll be 100% honest about it. You know, there were times in my past when I was younger, a lot younger, because it's been a long time ago. But there was a long, long time ago when I was younger that I was that fucking stupid person. I insulted them, I mocked them, I talked shit, I minimized them. You know, and I was wrong for it. I'll be the first to admit. And honestly, I mean, the whole adage, you know, people don't really care until it happens to them. Well, you know, it kind of is the kick in the teeth, and, you know, and slap in the face, but it still doesn't give me the right to insult other people either. I mean, you know, you don't get to say I'm faking. You don't get to say that I can't do something or can do something but won't. You don't get to say that I'm lazy. You don't get to say that I just do what I want to do when I want to do it. And it's just because, it's how I feel. It's not because of anything else. You don't get to sit there and tell me that I'm useless or worthless, or you don't get to take and treat me like I'm a freaking child and like, I can't do any damn thing. You don't get to take and tell me that I need to suck it up, princess, because you know what? That's part of the fucking problem. That is part of the problem. And I can't say it's a whole male thing, because there's females that do it too. But you don't get to sit there and tell me that I need to man up or, woman up. You don't get to tell people that, because you know what? I'm not bragging. I'm not proud of it, but until you've dealt with chronic pain, you have no fucking idea what I deal with. You have no fucking idea what I endure every single minute of my life. And you don't get to make fun of that. You don't get to tell me that I'm doing this or I'm doing that. I'm not this, I'm not that. You don't get that luxury. I wouldn't do it to someone, as long as I've dealt with chronic illness and as bad as things are now, I wouldn't do it to anybody. I would not sit there and tell somebody that, they need to do this or they need to do that. Because I don't know. I don't know what they need. Only they can tell me what they need. Only they can tell me how they feel. And that goes to another point. You don't sit there and get to give me advice on what the fuck will help me. Because, you know what? You don't know. You don't have a clue. You have no idea. Oh, when my back was hurting, I just applied some heat. Guess what? Can't apply heat, bitch, because when I apply heat, it makes my damn heat intolerance flare up, and then the eczema goes to shit, and then the pain starts, and then it's just fucking downhill everywhere. So, no. I can't just massage it. I can't just put some heat on it. Oh, well, I think you should try this. Oh, you need to exercise. Well, how can I exercise, bitch, when I can't fucking hardly damn every step I take makes my muscles feel like that they are getting heavier and heavier. Oh, just push on through it. Oh, sure, yeah, I could try to push on through it. Probably chances are I could and would if I was stupid. Because early on you try that shit and then you find out, oh, yeah, there's consequences. Because when I push through it, I'm pushing beyond the point that my body has said enough. And when that happens, things really go off the rails. I may be fine for a while. I may be able to get through what I got to do. But it's the aftermath. It's the days. Not just days on end of dealing with the consequences of pushing it too far. Doing too much. Finishing up. Sucking it up, princess. I haven't had anybody tell me to suck it up, princess, in a while. I kind of made it pretty clear to those that talk like that early on, that I know that that was unacceptable, and I will cuss a mother out in a heartbeat. Tell me to suck it up. I try to be calm, but sometimes it should just fucking you just can't take it no more. And that kind of goes to the hiding. It goes to the whole thing. People don't know what we're going through. Kind of cover a lot of things here, and honestly, kind of been all here and there in some places. But it's just how it's how I flow. There is no planning for something like this. There's no. and that's part of the reason why it's taking me so long to get this podcast out. It's not about, planning, and the more I plan, the worse things get, longer it takes and goes on. Things change, they're fluid, and I have to be fluid. I mean, if I'm not fluid and flexible, then it just doesn't happen. My mind has not been in a good place for quite a while. It's gotten better. It's been getting better. It still doesn't need to be where is it at where it needs to be? Probably fucking not. Let's just be honest. And it never will be. But, it comes down to is dealing with chronic illness and disease sucks. Society doesn't make it better. If I told you that my pain was, you hear this at doctor's office. What's your pain scale? What's pain level? How do you feel today? What's your level from 1 to 10? Blah, blah, blah. Sometimes they'll give you a little chart even. That's kind of cool. I guess if you're into the whole picture, smileys, frowny face stuff. But I may sit there and say, my baseline's I'm having about a 5 or 6 day. And go, 5 or 6, that's starting to feel bad. Kind of in the middle there between feeling great and feeling really shitty. But that's my 5 or 6. I have to remember to tell them what it would possibly translate to on, in a normal, quote unquote, normal person's pain scale. Because after you deal with chronic pain long enough, and this isn't always the case, it depends on the pain, depends on the location, the severity, blah, there's a lot of factors. But in general, I think most people that deal with chronic pain, they adjust. They have to. You start to, because that pain is so constant all the time, what would be basically a baseline, that you don't perceive pain on the same scale as others. And one of the doctor's appointments I went to, I was having a really bad flare-up day. I mean, honestly, it was all I could do, just freaking move. Just everything was going off the rails. And nurse asked me, she said, what's your pain scale today? And I said, it's about a 7. And she said, oh, that's pretty bad. I said, wait, no, 7 for regular, for me, it would be about a 9 for a normal person. And she about fell out. She's like, are you serious? I was like, ma'am, would you like the list? She's like, sure. She said, yeah, let's, I need to document this. And as I kept talking, I watched the expression on her face change to one of, as I said before, horror. She's like, holy shit. So when you tell me that, you've dealt with that kind of pain, chances are you haven't. That's why trying to associate it is so damn freaking irritating to us. Because you can't understand what I go through. You cannot, in your mind, wrap around the logic and the rationale on how in the hell I survive. And that's what we do. We survive. We don't thrive. This whole thing, they're thriving with this illness. No, we're not. We're fucking surviving. Let's be honest with ourselves. Let's be honest with everybody. Let's be honest with society. We are not thriving. We are just surviving. We're surviving to the best of our ability so that we don't completely damn give up. Because, how do you help somebody who's, how does someone thrive? Let's just say, how does someone thrive when every day is a challenge? Every day is a chore. Every day is a grind, and even on the good days, it's kind of shitty. You don't, ain't no kind about it. And my good days are still really shitty. They're just less really shitty than other days. Some people's days are good days are actually really good days. And I do have them occasionally. Not that often, but, once in a blue moon, I get a really good day. And if I'm lucky, maybe a couple of good days before shit goes completely south again. But, unless. So, excuse me, we have to remember that. We have to keep telling ourselves, what would other people think? How could other people perceive this? And even then, people don't always frickin' understand or still think you're faking. I try to get it right out from the get-go. When someone says, how are you feel? How you feel today? If I'm in a doctor's office setting, I'll try to give them, best I can guess on what my pain would convert to a normal pain scale. But usually I follow it up with what is happening. I told you I was in like an 8 or 9, and look on your face is one of bewilderment and confusion about how the hell I could be functioning with 8 or 9. No, I understand you need more info. So I've learned that I have to follow that up. I'm about 8 or 9 today. Skin's flared up pretty bad. Eczema's breaking out and pretty severely. I'm having, I'm seeing it spread. The cramps are pretty bad in, say, my leg for that day. My legs are cramping pretty heavy today. I just give them the detail, and then they understand. And then they'll say, well, why would you consider it a 5 or 6? And it's because, on your pain scale, and this is, or 7 or 8 on my pain scale, whatever the hell it was I told them, and, versus regular pain scales. Like, because if I tell you constantly that if I told you I'm an 8 or 9, and you just watch me walk in here, and with my cane and all, and maybe you saw a little discomfort or whatnot, you'd be going, this is bullshit. So, I gotta give you details. I gotta do the doctor's details. It's just like the cramps, the cramps and spasms I deal with, they're total body. I mean, there's not a part of my body that hasn't cramped. Cramps are so bad that once they start and they go into full spasm and they lock up, it's a ride. There's nothing I can do to make that better. There's nothing I can do to stop them. There's nothing I can do to quicken the relaxation. I just have to let it go, let it ride out. A lot of times those are really, really fucking painful. I mean, I have had tears brought to my eyes before from a cramp that's locked up so bad and been so intense and severe. It's woken me up in the middle of the night. I've literally sat up out of bed in the middle of the night before from cramps. And these cramps, are, initially they were, minor, somewhat a little more severe in places, but as a whole, they were just quirks. Now it's to the point that they pull muscle. I strain muscle from cramps now. I mean, literally strain muscle. Right now, I have an Achilles tendon that is so inflamed from a damn cramp I had last night. It's like someone driving a freaking hot spike right into my damn Achilles tendon whenever I take a step. My diaphragm, not my abs, give you my diaphragm yesterday. Which, thank God, doesn't happen that often because that is some of the most intense fucking pain I've had. But my whole diaphragm, it started spasming and then it went to full lockdown cramp. if you don't know how that feels, imagine someone taking and grabbing a hold of you around the waist, the midsection, and squeezing to the point that it felt like your diaphragm was in like a balled up crumpled paper, and someone's just squeezing it tighter and tighter, and you can't get your frickin' breath. You try and it hurts. It hurts to frickin' even breathe. That's the kind of cramps I'm talking about, folks. My hands have locked up to the point before that I could not straighten a finger. I couldn't do shit with that hand. I couldn't drive, couldn't do nothing. I mean, I could tell you about different episodes. I mean, just something simple as like, I was in a weird camping chair and it started tilting back, and I put my arms back to catch myself from falling, on the ground. And when I did, my triceps locked down completely, and I had to roll onto the ground just to get the pressure off of my calves. Triceps. Force them to straighten out, and then just sit there and just wait for that cramp to stop. I'm not gonna lie, that one brought tears to my eyes. I had tears running down my face. It hurt so bad. Those kind of cramps of that kind of intensity are not that often, because I don't know what the hell I would do if they were. And telling people about, how I'm feeling, when I tell them stuff like that, they're like, again, I get that horrified look. It's the only way I can describe it. Horrified. Because they don't understand. Even another example of a weird little freaking crazy shit I got to deal with. Heat flare up. One of the wonderful things that came with all this crap I'm dealing with is heat intolerance. I have a very narrow temperature window that I can operate in, high window, we'll say, that I can operate in before things get worse, get bad, pretty bad actually. When heat intolerance flares up, I wound up, and some of it can be caused from the sun sensitivity. Very sensitive to direct sunlight and certain UV bands. But the heat intolerance, when it flares up, your whole body feels like it will set on fire while someone's gouging you with spikes. Think about that. See if you can imagine how that feels. And it's not a steady burn either. It kind of fluctuates. It goes from that kind of intensity to, pouring acid on top of it, and then it calms down. Your skin takes I start seeing, I guess for lack of a correct medical term, a rash, heat rash. And this isn't like it's not like a little splotchy spots. These are raised spots. And the hotter I am in those areas, the worse it is. It's been to the point that it's been so rashed up that I can't stand any damn thing to touch me. Not even a breeze. Just a simple air movement. It's painful. And it triggers intense sweating. Of course, your body's reaction to, feeling like it's overheating is sweat. You just sweat. and you sweat, and you sweat, and you just keep on sweating. Now here's where things get even more bullshit. Is you have to take and you have to slowly try to mitigate whatever the hell it was that caused it. You have to slowly mitigate what it is that is triggering it, and you have to bring that down slow. I can't bring it down quick. If I get hot like that and I cool down too quickly, then I get the opposite. I wind up it triggers other shit. So if I cool down too quickly, what happens is I'm cooled down, body's still freaking covered in sweat. And so a body starts feeling, I guess, a normal feeling of evaporation. But because I was so hot and then cooled down so quick, our body thinks that I've hit extreme, I've been extreme temperature, and it treats it like I'm freaking, going hypothermic. I start shaking. Now, the shaking is not like a little shiver. This is a pretty intense shake. And the really weird part about it is it mainly involves things from the waist up. And that shaking, it looks like, normal. I'm cold, little shiver, and then it gets more intense. And then it gets pretty much violent, because what happens is I get into a real intense shaking. My body starts trembling almost violently, and then the cramps start. My body just starts, every muscle in from my torso to top of my head starts locking into a full-blown cramp. It's just, full lockdown, muscle trying to twist itself apart cramp. And it's a progression. It's a pretty quick progression. If I don't warm up to a level, do a quick warm up to a level that stops that reaction, but doesn't re-trigger, another big flare of the heat problem, my whole torso, arms, neck, everything just goes into a full lockdown, and I can barely move. It's that bad. It happened to me once in public, and I honestly did not think I was going to make it to my car. I could barely even reach the keys that were in my back pocket, because I couldn't move my muscles enough from where they had spasmed and were in that lockdown spasm to get my keys. And it's not just, front or, it's the whole thing, all back, front, arms, sides, everything, neck, face, even. So as a result, it changes a lot of things. And, I could keep going on and on about, daily things. I think I probably shocked enough of you, and some of y'all are probably like, fuck, this damn thing's going to go on forever. But it's not, because, the thing is, I could spend all day telling you what in the hell I deal with. The extremes, the minor stuff, the major stuff, it doesn't matter. Eventually you're going to get tired of hearing it. So I'm going to take a little break here, a little pause, and I'm going to take and come back, and we'll regroup, and we'll talk about how it changes your life, how chronic disease and chronic illness changes your life. So kind of hang tight there. Pause the podcast. I don't know if I'll put any crazy music there. May or may not. Let's see. But anyway, take yourself a quick little break, and join you back here shortly. All right, everybody. Let's pick things back up, and we've talked a lot about, or I've talked a lot about, different things I deal with on a daily basis, and honestly could go on and on and on and on and on, and there's no telling how long it would take. So the most important part to remember is that just because you see or think you know something going on there with that person, that's not always going to be the case. And sure, some of the examples I gave you were meant to freaking shock the hell out of you. Some of them were just meant to be informative, but it all boils down to you don't really know. And I don't want to say it's a contributor, but it does play a little factor in to how it changes your life. And I can tell you, you look at my life even 10 years ago, maybe even, as little as 5 years ago, my life was a lot different. Further back you go, the more different it was and it has been. And these changes were not what I wanted. It's not something I hoped for. It's not. Most of these I wish hadn't changed, but, it's just, this is the side that people really need to understand. So if you haven't paid attention much up till now, other than occasional holy fuck and, and texting somebody or watching TV or whatever the hell you were doing, this is the part you really need to listen to, because this is the part that people never see, or if they see, it puts them in a place that they don't even want to be. But this is the life that that most of us, I can't speak for everybody. Keep in mind I'm speaking for myself, and I'm trying to stay as generalized as possible, but I think, honestly, I think just from knowing as many people as I do that deal with chronic disease and chronic illness, that these are pretty much the norms. This is pretty much what happens and how your life changes. And this is the part that, out of everything that I've discussed and talked about, is probably the most impactful. Because this is the part that we don't want at all. This is the part that, other things we can deal with. We can deal with, the occasional, sympathizer that we want to smack the shit out of. We can deal with the occasional, hyper masculine asshole that tells us to suck it up. We can deal with, the looks of, and sometimes vocalizations of, you're just bullshitting, you're faking, whatever. We can deal with that. There's nothing we can do to change this, because this is not on us as much as it is on others. And I say that, and some of you are going to be like, you just don't want to take responsibility. But you know what? I'm taking responsibility. That's why the hell I'm telling you the shit. This is what you need to know. That's why I'm laying my freaking inner soul out, because there's too many freaking people like myself with chronic illness and disease, and that this is probably the one thing that all of us have in common, and to some extent. Some of us have it even worse than what I'm going to tell you I've dealt with, and personally, and some people haven't had to deal with it as bad. Maybe it's, I don't know why. I don't know why one, some situations is better than others, you know. And, I'll get into that a little bit more, but this is the part you need to listen. So I'll give you a second to kind of clear your thoughts there. I'll get me a few sips of my coffee here to get yourself, undistracted, put things down, because this is the part I really, really want you to hear. All right, so take a little bit. We'll get some coffee and we'll get into this. All right, I'll give you a few more seconds because I want to get a vape too. A few hits here. All right. So, hope you use your time wisely there, because we're about to get real, folks. So, how does having this chronic disease, illness, whatever nomenclature you want to use for yourself or whatever, how does this affect your life? Because I'm sure people that have met me recently, or fairly recently, are probably like, oh, I don't really notice anything. It's because they're seeing the now. They don't see how it was before, and honestly, and I can tell you, I have brought this to people's attention. They've known me for a long time. I brought it up and I've said, hey, what the fuck? Why is this different now? And honestly, they could not give me an answer in majority of cases. And even if, my concerns or my thoughts were truly listened to and taken in consideration, and things did change back to, like they were, it never lasts. Because people don't realize what it's doing, what it does, So, time y'all learn. And, if I sound a little angry sometimes, a little confrontational, hell, maybe a little sad, who knows. We'll see how this plays out, but they're true emotions, because honestly, this is the part that nobody wants to hear. So, here we go. Anything anybody deals with chronic illness and chronic disease is eventually going to take its toll on them and the people around them, and their life is going to have a major change. Probably the biggest they're going to see is isolation. And this is something that a lot of us deal with in private, because we don't want to express it to people's faces, especially the ones who need to see it, because we're already in most cases perceived as weak, and we'll talk about that a little bit too, but later on. But we don't want to be perceived as something even more degrading. So we kind of keep it to ourselves. But y'all need to hear this. It's isolating. It's isolating as hell. You stop getting, at first when you start learning about your symptoms, your issues, whatever you want to call them. Sometimes I just call them fucking pains in asses. I don't know, whatever. When you first start learning about them and learning, how that illness and disease affects you, things, you continue on. You keep doing things that you normally would do, or you try to. I guess that's probably the best thing. You try to keep doing those things, because what happens is eventually your body tells you, bitch, you can't do this no more. It's done. Either and usually it's not, a full stop. It gives you, unless it's, severe, something really severe, and came on extremely fast. In most cases, you're going to get warning signs. Your body's going to start telling you, hey, you need to chill, bro, this is getting, no, we need to chill on this. We got to slow it down. If you're smart, you listen. And early on, you don't, because you're like, oh, you've watched all the hype videos and pep ups and motivationals and seen all these so happy people talking about, oh yes, my life is so great, and I've got chronic disease, blah 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 blah. You know what? That's their situation, not yours. So, but you still associate it, and you're like, okay, you're still stuck in that everyday person mentality, and you're like, oh yeah, I got this, we got this. This isn't gonna stop me. I'm gonna push through this, and this is not gonna beat me. It don't matter how minor or major it is. You're like, I got this. It's mine. Done. Come at me, bitch. Come on, bro. You want to fight? Come at me. And then your body tells you what's up. It tells you, oh no, you're not doing this no more. So if you're smart, you listen to the early warnings, but early on, especially, you don't. You just let it go until your body frickin' shuts it down. And that that shutdown could be a number of things. There's too many variables and too many things the body does with different illnesses and different conditions, and even with the same people with the same, people with the same stuff, is always going to be different. But nonetheless, your body puts a hard stop on it. Now, at first, people are going to understand. Even if you start taking heat early on when, shit's getting kind of squirrely, people understand. And they're like, well, okay, that's cool. But this is where isolation starts. Because you eventually have to, there either one or two things are going to happen. You're gonna post, tell them, hey, I can't do this, or I can't do that, or I can't go out now, or this or that. You're gonna start telling them, that you can't. And that's the word that's the word that a lot of us still struggle with. And I can tell you, I've been dealing with this shit show of a freaking body for, this kind of stuff for, as best I can remember, over 25 years at this point. And the last 5 years have probably been the worst of all. Well, they have been the worst of all. Probably they have been the worst of all. But what happens is that whatever it is that the illness is affecting with people around you, you're going to, so in most cases, they're going to be accommodating at first. And, and the two things that are going to happen there is that one person is going to be accommodating. They're going to understand, and they're going to take and say, oh, that's cool. Maybe next time, they may even, try to do something, I guess to kind of make up for you missing that. It depends on your friends, depends on the nature of people you hang out with, whatever. No one's better than the other, I guess. But what you end up happening is these people start, they eventually all start going to the second person. And that second person is the one that, whether they think it's bullshit, all the time, any of the times, one at a time, most of the times, half the time, whatever. Or they have reached that state of horror, and their mind not being able to process it, those invitations for things and going out, just general hanging out and whatnot is going to take, and they're going to get less and less and less. Eventually they're going to stop. Complete, hard, it's just a memory. Stop. Now, you're asking yourself, what kind of fucking friends does this guy have? What kind of people does this guy know? Maybe that's part of the problem. He's got some toxic friends or relationships or hangs out in the wrong places, whatever the hell, I don't care. Whatever hell's going through your mind. Some of you may be having that kind of shit going on. Some of you are going to be like, yeah, no, he's exaggerating. He's just exaggerating. He just don't want to deal with it. There's something else going on there. Whatever. Well, guess what, folks? Yeah, it happens. I'll give you some examples just of my own here. I want to get invited out to go hang out with friends and drink. Why? I can't drink. I mean, I understand I can't drink. I can't have anything with gluten in it. Now thinks it is wonderful bullshit of a, body I have and how it has decided to react to, I guess. I got a scramble of trash DNA going on. Whatever. Another story another day. It doesn't matter what it is, it still keeps happening. I mean, I don't get invited out. I can drink. There's other things to drink, but same thing with eating. Used to go out all the time with friends and stuff, and you invited. We'd have a lot of hangouts and stuff. Now I know people's lives change, and there's some people, I understand their situation. I do understand when things change there with them, but as a whole, well, those invites stop coming. Because, either, I can't do something or I can't go to the beach. Can't go, I feel like shit and I, don't feel like going, don't feel like going tonight. Is it okay if I pass? And, or it's, stop, I wanted to just hang out in general, texts, phone calls, get-togethers, whether it's close friends, not so close friends, those invites, it doesn't matter, they stop. They stop. And, I don't think it's always a case of fuck this guy, fuck this girl, fuck this person. I don't know, if it's always a case of that. Some there are, I'm sure. I think for the most part, it's they don't want to deal with it themselves. They just don't want to deal with you, us, me, whatever. They don't want to, they can't. It's either, I think, or at least I convince myself, it's either that they just don't know how to handle everything that's going on with you. So, avoidance is just a coping mechanism for them because they're so uncomfortable because they feel helpless. Or it's a case of, not my problem, ain't nothing I can do about it, and they just move on. I don't know which is more versus less, honestly. But I mean, that's just my thoughts, and just from general reactions and things I've noticed through the years with people. Um, you also start to lose friends, of course, because of the isolation. You know, the only time you're seeing people is when you're hanging out and stuff, and or when you're well, and that starts stopping, then yeah, you lose friends. I've never been one personally that had a whole lot of friends. I've always kind of been. I thought for years I was extroverted as hell, but I guess COVID taught a lot of us that we're probably a little more introverted than wanting to be. But I'm still, I guess, I'm an extroverted introvert in a lot of cases. But I've also learned to just find comfort in the isolation. Well, I ain't gonna say isolation. There's no comfort in isolation. Comfort in with myself. I've learned to be comfortable with the silence as much as I can. But it's hard. Admittedly, it's pretty hard. And thing is that what the isolation does is it does affect self-esteem. I ain't gonna lie, it does. I think the biggest change I've seen me personally and others that I've talked to, and we try not to be this way. We don't want to be this way, but you become pretty numb. You become numb to normals. You don't react like you would have in the past. You deal with so much pain, so much turmoil, so much isolation, issues, chaos, every minute of every day of your life that you just can't process emotions like you used to. You can't process I guess the changes that you've been forced to make. Most of them we don't want, but it's what we've been forced to do. And honestly, that numbness is pretty fucking scary. I don't like being numb. I don't like feeling, I guess, cold even. Sure, I mean, I'm sitting here right now trying to hold it together, folks, and it's I still feel emotion, but not like I should. There's things that I should be upset, concerned about, sad even. Doesn't even bother me anymore. I make note of it, sure, but as a whole, it doesn't bother me. Just whatever. Some of it, it's scary. Because, that numbness adds to the isolation. I mean, you don't show people things that you need to show them, and you try. There's times when I genuinely try, but it's honestly, I know it's fake, and most of the time they probably can sense it is too. I mean, it's pretty obvious when it's genuine, and but you try, because you don't want others to have to be numb. There's things that, that calmness is nice. I don't get as angry nowhere near as much as I used to. But, but even things that should make me sad, I'm like, that's the part that's scary. And things that shouldn't make me sad, they do. Sometimes. And there's all other stuff, and, mental health issues. I didn't talk about depression, but I can guarantee you majority of chronically ill people, disabled people, or have depression of some sort. I can almost guarantee it, because it kind of comes along with the course. But, that numbness, it's how we protect ourselves. Because once you hit that point of being numb, it's because you've been through how long it takes to get answers, find answers, and a lot of times you still fucking deal with that daily. You've been through the shock of dealing with it, explaining it to others, dealing with their reactions, how they talk to you, how they treat you, learning you can't do shit. And I can tell you now, there's so much shit I can't do that every day, every fucking day, seems like there's something else that gets chipped away at. There's some things that I can tell you right now I can't do anymore at all, period. But we'll talk about that shit on another one. Another podcast. But you've been to that point, and you're starting to see the isolation. But we don't want people. See, we went down that road, and usually it's because we don't have the guidance. We don't have anyone there that truly knows and understands, or can wrap their head around it and truly care anymore to devote the time, or knows, truly knows, like I said. We've gotten to that point, and we've been through those obstacles, and we don't want others to fucking deal with it. We don't want others to have to deal with it. That's why communities, whether it be, generalized or specific, that deal with chronic illness, disease, and disabilities they're so tight-knit, because we have suffered, and we don't want others to be numb, because what happens with that numbness is you stop caring. You stop caring about shit that you probably should, and then you just sit and wait. Sorry if you hear a snot ball there, my bad. But you just sit and wait, and your life is one of just letting it pass. You know, I mean, and you don't want others to get to that. But tipping point, I can honestly say, is the isolation. So if you're listening to this, or and you're not one of us, you don't deal with chronic disease, you don't deal with chronic illness, disability, you need to fucking stop. Chill the fuck out with that shit. Stop isolating us. We were friends before. Can't be friends now just because I'm different, because my body has told me to go fuck off. So you're going to tell me to fuck off too? I mean, really? Stop being those damn people. Sure, I can't go out drinking, you know. Can't hang out at the bar. Part of that's a money situation too, but you know, story for another day, as they say, and as I'll say. But can't hang out, can't chill at the house. You know, hell, watch a comedy show together. Can't just chill and, you know. Oh, I can't help you. Can't help you build your deck. Oh, I know. I could before. I know. Can't now. I can't. Body says fuck you. Can't do it no more. But does that mean that that I'm no longer your friend because I'm not able to do something? I mean, can't go to the beach because I can't stand the fucking heat and the direct sunlight. Even if I'm in the shade, the heat's too much. Unless I got adequate way to cool down. Nope, no really adequate way to cool down. And it's 90-some degrees outside. Yeah, just because you ain't go to the beach, would you? Why can't we go to the mountains? Where's cooler, you know? What about a mountain trip? Mountains are nice. Yeah, go when it's freezing cold, and you know, we go somewhere like that. Hey, want to go fishing? No, can't fish anymore. Okay, I mean, fishing's it. I mean, can't fish no more, so can't hang out no more. Can't do this, can't do that no more. You know, I can give example after example, but point is that the isolation's not because of our illness. It's because of people who choose to use our illness as an excuse. Now, let's get real about it, people. I mean, I know that there's some out there that just don't give a fuck. They just look for a reason to no longer be a friend with you. And, hey, well, guess what? Your illness gave them an out. It sucks. I get it. I know it. I've known those people. But, a lot of times, they just can't deal with it. They physically cannot wrap their head around it. They don't understand what to do. They don't understand what to say. They're afraid they're going to do more harm than good. Maybe they're just lost for words. I don't know. I mean, they could have any good or bad excuse. But you folks that do this to us, it adds a validation of why we get treated like we do. And it's not right. I mean, because I'm not an able-bodied person, or I'm not able to do the things that you or even I could do, you know, before. It just makes me less of a person? No. It doesn't make me less of a damn person. You know, thing, it makes me an extraordinary person. And look, I'm not trying to be a motivational speaker here. I'm being genuine here, because God knows I don't know if I could motivate anybody at this point. I can barely motivate myself sometimes. But what it comes down to is, you can change all this fucking isolation. If you don't want to be, if you're looking for a reason to not be friends with someone, don't wait till their life goes to total fucking shit with a chronic disease or illness or disability, and then use that as an excuse. Just fucking tell them you don't want to be friends with them and fuck off. I don't care. If you're terrified, if you've reached that point of, horror, and you just don't know what to do, say, act, blah, 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 whatever, speak the fuck up. Speak up. If you ask us about something, if you genuinely want to know, tell us you genuinely want to know. You want details. You want to understand. You want to ask questions. You want to, you want to try to help your mind process everything. Tell us. If you don't know how to approach it, say, hey, I'm sorry, I don't understand. If I tell you, oh, I can't do this, it's okay to ask me why. Don't be a dink and go, why? What the fuck? Seriously? Don't do shit like that. No, because that will make me angry. I try not to get angry. I'm so fucking chill now. Some of it could be the hemp, but anyways, just ask why. What's going on? Why can't you? And remember that tone, don't get a freaking tone with it either. Vertently or inadvertently, just remember, hey, just try to be as neutral about it. Because majority of the time, we're going to tell you. And if it's, if it even sounds a little generic, ask us, is there something specific? Ask for specifics. Because I may be, you may see me, picking up things and being okay, but then, ask me why I can't type. And it's because my grip is, I can grip okay, I can grip something okay, but when I have that shocking pressure on my joints from like typing, and my fingers, they start hurting and the joints start swelling. See? And then you'd be like, oh, fuck, I didn't realize that. So, ask for those details. Ask us. Talk to us. We will be willing to talk. Nobody with a illness or disease or disability will not be open to sharing their experience with people who genuinely want to know and care and want to learn. We will be open to you. We truly want to share it, because you know what? The more we are able to talk about it, the more it helps us be less isolated, and the more it helps others understand, so that this cycle of isolation stops. And, it's going to bring me to the last thing here. I know it's been a long podcast, longest I've ever done, honestly. Some of y'all at this point are probably going, hey, what can I do? Some of y'all are probably like, I got it. I know exactly what to do. I know. Well, I'm going to tell you, you may or may not be right. So, I think the first thing that irritates the shit out of all of us that deal with this stuff on a daily basis is giving us advice. Unsolicited, unprovoked advice. Because guess what, Einstein? You have no idea what in the hell I am going through. Period. You don't know how my body reacts to this and that. You don't know how I'm feeling at that very moment. You don't know what's going on. And even if I tell you, you're still not going to know, because every person's experience is different. So don't sit there and tell me, oh, my joints are swollen up. Put heat on them. No shit, Sherlock. Oh, this helped with me. I did this. Well, you know what? That's what you did for your thing that you were going through, that's specific and unique just to you. It may or may not work with me. Did I ask for your advice? In most cases, we don't. So don't take and give us some generic bullshit of what you think you can do because of something that you heard or heard somebody else had or thought about it, or it makes sense. Good thing to do. This is totally acceptable, and we actually do enjoy this. Ask us, if you think something may help, or you've heard it has helped with other things. Say something like, "Hey, have you ever tried this?" I've seen where some people with, this has helped with one thing or another. That's acceptable, I guess, if it's approached correctly. But where that gets kind of on a slippery slope is if someone says, oh, well, does it pertain to me, or this is different, or I've tried that, and then, you have a couple of those exchanges, and then you get pissed off because you're like, yeah, I don't want to fucking hear it, I'm telling you anyway. No, fuck you. It's not what's going on. What is acceptable is, instead of giving unsolicited advice, ask if there's anything that you can help us with. Is there anything that, they can do to make things easier at the moment? That kind of something. That's very appreciated. Because usually it's one it's like, oh, well, I can't help, or you don't want my help, so fuck you, bye. And that's usually what it is. Which kind of goes hand in hand with the whole sympathy, empathy thing. I thought about it before. Don't sit there and tell me that you know how I feel, because you don't. Everything is unique. So what you can be is that empathetic person and say, hey, something like, I would like, I'm empathetic that you're feeling bad, or that you're going through this, or you're going through that. What can I do to help, or is there anything I can do to help? Or something like, I'm empathetic, but I don't, I'd like to understand more. Can you help me understand better? And when you ask things like that, you need to be willing to listen, because when you start getting your mindset, oh, I know what the hell this, and you're thinking more about your response versus what they're actually saying and telling you. When you're hearing and not listening, then you start it gets in that whole asking for advice, giving unsolicited advice, blah, 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 or just getting frustrated with the person, whatever. And don't take our, and if we don't accept your advice, or even if we ask for it and, and it's not what, we don't take it, then don't take offense at it, because, a lot of us have done a lot of damn things and tried a lot of stuff. Some stuff that probably, have been, trial and error for the most part. I guarantee you, everybody who's listening to this, or that you know that has chronic illness or disease, has done a lot of trial and error. Yeah, I mean, don't get mad about it. You know, it's it's nothing to get mad about. I didn't take your advice, or I didn't even want your advice. If I told you, hey, I'm sorry, but I don't want your advice. If I tell you something like that, don't get pissed off at me. I didn't want it. I didn't ask for it. If I don't feel like it will work, I'll listen to what you had to say, and majority of the time, either I'm going to tell you why, and back it up with facts and evidence and and examples, or I'm going to take and just say, well, I've tried that before and it didn't work, or it doesn't pertain to me. I'm going to tell you why, but don't get mad. The biggest thing that others can do is to understand that this isn't a world we want it to live in. This isn't a world that we want to stay in. This isn't a world that we welcome membership to. But it's a world that we have to live in with chronic disease. And, people have to realize that you may not be the one that's dealing with whatever it is with that chronic disease, illness, disability, but that doesn't mean that those people are below you. It doesn't mean that we are worthless. All those helpless. And don't give me that resilient bullshit, because I'm going to tell you, yes, and, calling someone with illness, chronic illness or disability, is resilient is bullshit. We have to fucking be. We don't have a choice. It's not a conscious choice. It's either we thrive and we or, as I said before, there is no thriving. We may thrive in a situation, but we survive every day. That surviving is not something I want to have to do. I just want to fucking live. Just want to live my life in relative peace, which I don't have. Never will have again, because of this. But you got to realize that we are increasingly being treated like we're shit. Even those that don't understand, some of you say it's a political thing, and yes, that does have a political atmosphere. Certain groups and people and whatnot have probably caused more damage in the last 10 years and probably the 50 before. And I'm pretty sure there's case studies for that. So if you want to fact check, whatever, I don't give a shit. I'm not trying to quote any facts here because I don't know, because I haven't looked at the numbers. But regardless, the cycle's got to stop, because, calling me resilient is stupid. I don't want to be resilient. I just want to fucking live. None of us want to be resilient. We want to live. But resilience is the only way that we survive. So stop calling us resilient, please, as well. But what you're going to find out is that, yeah, we may have changed, but we don't want that change to be our lives. We want our new normal to be enjoyable as much as it can be, not to be, in isolation. We shouldn't be an afterthought. We shouldn't be something that is just, to make yourself feel good about a donation, supporting a charity, going on a walk. Oh, yeah, I did this for this cause and that for that cause and blah, blah, blah. What the hell else have you done? Other than that, we're just an afterthought. And that's pretty much all that is. It's an afterthought. Unless you're genuinely trying to help. I'm not saying you got to go out and freaking donate your time to charities and this, that, but what you need to do is donate your time to stop isolating those people around you that physically, mentally, emotionally, the disabled, the chronically diseased, the illness. Stop treating them with a label. Start treating us like people. I don't give a shit if you want to be my friend or not, but don't act like you want to be just a freaking, just to make yourself feel better. Oh, I tried with that person. Now, if you don't really want to be friends with me, fuck you, I don't care. Whatever. Just tell me why. If I'm a dick, don't tell me why. I don't care. Whatever. And I'm going to kind of get off this soapbox right now. Because if you made it this far, let's just say that you've heard a lot, you've experienced a lot, you've probably learned some things about me, about others around you that you just don't get, and how it pertains to broken, finding myself, the title of this podcast, long one. How did I find myself? Everything that we've talked about, all the rants, the ravings, the side trips, the ups and downs of emotions, in fact, finding the put it all out there, it ain't even ripping a Band-Aid off. This is more like freaking cutting a vein and bleeding out. This is everything that I went through in my own head. Because I'm broken. I'll admit, my body's broken. Mine's broken. My spirit is broken. But that's changing. Spent a lot of time doing a lot of soul searching. I've to find myself, because I kept holding on. Even thinking about it now is a little emotional. But I kept holding on to the old me, to the me I used to be, the person I'll never be able to be again. And I had to think about who I actually was anymore. Well, I tell you, there's a lot more stuff that was that it would have been easier, honestly, to make a list of stuff that I could do or can do or am able to do, whatever, now than what I can't do. And I went through everything in my head that we've talked about and a lot more. Some of it, honestly, it's going to be have to be a future podcast. I'll try to keep them a lot shorter in this one. So it's a bearing the soul, as we say. to find myself, and I think I've got a pretty good idea now, you know. And with that is coming a little bit of peace. It doesn't stop the chaos. Oh my God. Well, that's gonna be something that I'll always live with. Those of us like myself are gonna deal with and always live with. What it has done though is help me find myself in that focus that I need it. You know, what can I do and can't do anymore? What is my life now? What do I have left? Well, I have my voice. If y'all have listened to it this long, thank you. Again, this has been a long podcast. If y'all made this point, I applaud you. Yes. So me applauding you for being there and sticking through it. If and I don't care if it's been in one long session or you broke it up, thank you. True, heartfelt thank you. I've always tried to help people that need help whenever way I can, and still do that. And it's not I don't expect reciprocal, so to speak. But that's also part of the finding myself, being more vocal about what I need, what I want, what I can and can't do. Some of that even goes as far as telling people, fuck off. Be honest. Be direct. Just let shit fucking just go. I've learned to embrace the numbness. I'll never fully embrace it, but I've learned to embrace it when I need to. Stop getting angry about some shit. Anger, getting upset, that's where the numbness helps. Try to do what I can to fix the shit I can't. I'd rather do what I can to fix the shit I can and just fuck off and not worry about the shit I can't. I got a little sign here. We'll talk about on a later podcast, on different podcasts, some of the things that work and don't work and things I've done and tried. But those of y'all that know me, have talked to me in any shape capacity within the last probably year-ish, know that hemp is my savior. And I have a nice little sign here. It says, sativa to change the things I can, indica to accept the things I can't. And that's pretty much my mantra now. Not necessarily the different strain side there, but more of a accept what I can, and do something about what I can do something about, and the things I can't, whatever. That has brought me a little more peace, a lot less emotional ups and downs. It's stop taking stuff so personal. Again, numbness does help there. But with things I've learned, things that I've become, good or bad, this is what I need to do. This is what I wanted to do, and just like I said, wasn't in the right shape of mind. I need to be the voice for others. I need to help others where I can, for whatever I can. I just need to just be the voice that I am, There's a lot of things I want to share with people. A lot of things that, I think are funny, may not be. Who fuck knows? But that's me, you know. I need to just be me. I need to be, you know, the person, you know, fuck what everybody else thinks I should be. I need to be the person that I feel that I am and need to be and want to be. You know, stop letting the opinions of others be the voice in my head. Sure, take it into consideration, but not let it control me. Make people understand. And I don't mean beating it into them, you know. I mean, if that was the case, shit, I could have done that before I got to the point of cutting anymore. But, you know, make people understand. People like me. And honestly, the reason why I'm still fighting 2 fucking years later to explain everything to government people who, you know, are just looking at stuff and taking recommendations for people who don't understand themselves and trying to make people understand that my life fucking sucks just because it doesn't look like it doesn't look like there's anything wrong with you. By the way, if you made it this far, stop that fucking shit too. Yes, majority of us don't look like there's any damn thing wrong with us because guess what? We gotta hide every fucking thing, bitches. So stop making us fucking hide it. Maybe I'll stop looking like there's nothing wrong with me. Think I want to fucking walk around and every damn step I take me and fucking painting that like I'm walking all fine and dandy? Hell no, I'd like to sit down here once. I'd like to take a step every once in a while and go, fuck, that goddamn hurts. But anyway, a rant for another day. We'll get into that stuff later on. Different podcast. Anyway, calm down. I'll calm down here. But use my voice for whatever reason, you know, whether it's random thoughts in my head, whether it's, you know, stuff I've seen that bothers me and just use the isolation I've been forced into. Use that isolation to help others that are isolated, to help others realize that, hey, you have a voice too. Help others realize you're not alone. Help others realize with my voice that you can be you. You can be who you are. Not what the fuck society wants you to be. Or not how they think you should look or you should act. Not how in their mind thinks it means you're disabled versus not disabled. You know, because you don't look a certain way doesn't mean that you are a certain way. You know, that kind of fucking public mentality needs to stop. I applaud all of you that have been on that fight already, and I'm proud to join you as well. But whether it's doing a podcast, God, I'm so sorry if this is going on so long, and like I said, I clap for you folks that have made it this long and dealt with me and my voice and my ramblings and whatnot. But it doesn't matter if it's stuff about things like this and chronic illness and disease or me specific or in general, or it's just a random thing about why do assholes do this shit now? What the hell happened to common sense, people using the brain instead of being puppets to what somebody tells them. What happened to truth? Oh, that one's going to be a touchy one. I'll get into touchy subjects too. Fuck, we'll even hell, if you want to talk about shit like, I don't know, I don't know how to do it on a podcast, but maybe we can do some live streams at some time. I don't know. The things are endless here. Hell, I may even go off on a rant about, I may just do a random recording about just random shit that pops in my head for no damn reason. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm sitting here looking at this damn recorder thing going across, and I'm like, fuck. why the hell, how does it determine how far the bars go? Is every program the same, when it does vocalization, visualizations and shit? I don't know. See stuff like that, random shit like that. Or, if someone with no fingers, how they pick their nose, anything, random, stupid, whatever, crazy. Maybe a podcast like that, I don't know. But regardless, I'm going to just say fuck it. I'm just gonna take and just be me, and I'm gonna do me, and I gotta say, this has been a long journey to find myself again. Still not completely there. I ain't gonna lie. There's still a little me I gotta find. But I'm on the way. I found a good place. So I'm gonna do it. So I'm not gonna sit here and this about telling y'all I'm gonna do this many, that many, every so often, blah blah blah. I'm just not going to. Keep it simple, stupid. I like to do shit on the fly, as y'all have noticed with this podcast format and how it has been all over the fucking place, and a little chaotic at times, and just like my life is. But here's a good dose. Thank you. Thank you for joining this journey. I hope the self I found is entertaining, informative, knowledgeable, good for a laugh. Maybe even piss you off a little bit. I don't know. But thank you, everybody, for helping me find myself and going on this journey with me. If you haven't been there, thank you for joining me. If you want it to be there and haven't, then whatever, jump in get in where you fit in. Just a little maintenance stuff here, just to kind of get things rolling too. I do have a website up, it's running, it's been there for a while. It is www.intomymind.net. That's intomymind.net. N-E-T. I couldn't get the other one. I'm not even going to say it because I don't want people to think they confuse themselves. But it's www.intomymind.net. There are links to all my social media accounts there. There's a link to some of the podcasting stuff. Podcasts will be hosted on Spotify, and we'll distribute out to most other platforms as well. So if you don't do Spotify, it will be coming eventually. Videos, I have done some changes over time. Anything that's video will be going on my YouTube channel. Podcasts will not. There's some integration issues there. Anybody that's ever done it knows that YouTube, even though it will do audio, doesn't like audio over video. So it is what it is. But there are links to all that stuff there. I do have some affiliations and affiliate links in my on my webpage as well. I'll also be hosting at least or have it linked. The Spotify will be linked and YouTube will be linked as well on my website. So if you choose, you just rather use one website versus all of them, yeah, whatever. More than welcome to. I appreciate the traffic. But there are affiliate links down at the bottom. Just to kind of give you a heads up here. We'll be doing some series and things. Start getting some probably some YouTube shorts, but I'll do some TikTok stuff, get some things on there, get some stuff on Instagram, Facebook. Oh, there's so many platforms there. Some it will be specific to those platforms, some will be for all of them. Who knows? We'll just see how this shit goes. It's going to be all over the place. Like I said, I live in a world of chaos, folks. It is me. It is who I am. It is what I do. It is my daily life. So, yeah, that's it. That's where it is. That's what we're doing. That's where we're going. Hope you're ready for the ride, folks. I'm excited for this. Something I haven't been for a long time. It's been excited. We'll get into some deeper aspects. There's about a lot of the things that we went over today, or I talked about today. I'll get into some of those a lot deeper. I know this has been a very long podcast, and again, thank everyone for their due diligence here and their commitment and powering through here for me. Thank you so much. But until next time, kind of keep a check on my socials. Again, all those links are on my webpage and my website. And if you go on any of the social medias, there's a kind of bio link thing there. Bio sites, I think is what it's called now. That Spotify is doing. But anyway, there's an all-out link for all kinds of stuff. So any social media, go to my profile page if you don't use my website directly, and there will be links to all kinds of crap there. So, here we go, folks. First long episode, and be on the lookout for all kinds of things coming. We'll make it happen. Again, get in where you fit in. If you have any questions, comments, ideas, thoughts, good or bad, I don't give a shit anymore. I got pretty thick skin, and a lot of times just gonna let the bad stuff go. If something I feel to be addressed, you're going to get addressed, fucker. So just be warned. If you're gonna be a dick, I'm gonna freaking match. I'm gonna match you and probably one up you. The old saying about don't argue with stupid people. Don't argue with chaotic people either, because they're going to drag you into so much fucking shit that you're going to get lost and give up. We will beat you with experience that will torment you for the rest of your life. Ha ha. So don't try us, fuckers. Don't try us. Don't screw with the chronically ill, the chronically diseased, and the freaking disabled, because we will fuck you in more ways than one. We will fuck you up. So be warned, man. Just a little joke there. We ain't that bad. We're actually pretty good folks. But anyhow, be sure to comment, post, link. All the socials have it on there. My website has it on there. All the platforms with the podcast hosting has it on there. I've got links on my website. You can send me a comment thing. There's a contact me button on there. You can click that thing, send me a personal comment. I don't care. Just use your imagination, folks. I will say, if you wanna blast me out there on your social media, then hey, if it's good, you have my blessing. If it's bad, I will rectify, and I will. I'm not gonna. I've been through so much that I feel like that. I've got to freaking keep it real now. So, please, if you feel the need to trash me, that's your priority. I'm just gonna be upfront with you. Probably not gonna react to most stuff because I don't give a shit. You're just one person with your one opinion, and you may have a group of similar people that feel the same. I don't really care, but there's going to be lines I have, and there's lines that I will tell you about at some point in time. But if you cross a line, if you cross from my personal lines, yeah, you're going to have to deal with it. So, just be nice, folks. Be fucking cordial to each other. I'm a firm believer in karma, as some of you, those of you that know me know. I'm a firm believer in karma, and it gets everybody in the end. Hell, some of my shit could be karma for stuff I've done myself. Who knows? But anyhow, make the best of your day. Be nice to others, and always, always remember, have the day you deserve. Talk to y'all later, folks. Thanks again. Until next time.